All right, we are back live at Karonda's Bar and Grill, 2036 Rankin Mill Road in Greensboro, and you've been listening to the Football in Focus special playoff bracket special, and we are being joined on the phone now by the boss man, Andy Durham, Greensboro Sports Radio. Andy, how are you, sir?
Hey, what's up, Kris? How's it going?
Oh, doing fine. I don't know if you've been able to listen to any of the show tonight, but we've had a great show. This has been awesome.
Haven't caught any yet. I've just been on the internet mainly throughout the day, keeping up with the brackets and keeping up with college football and just trying to keep up with all the current news.
Well, so what do you any surprises? I mean, I know we had that little bit of a glitch earlier today with the whole CBA caught getting stripped of their wins and then kind of bumping things around. It kind of affected some of the local teams. I know Northeast was in the mix that it affected. They were going to have a pretty good draw, and then they ended up bouncing back to West Craven.
Yeah, and Southern Guilford kind of got the tail end of that draw because the Southern Guilford wins, and they get the winner of Eastern Wayne and South Johnston, both at 4 and 6 and 5 and 6. So that could end up benefiting Southern Guilford in the end.
Yeah, we had a nice long conversation with Coach Bates. He's excited about his draw, and he's ready to go. He actually, you and I were talking about the other day about having that 3 weeks off, if that's a good thing or not, and he talked to us like it was a good thing. He says that they're going to be real healthy and they look real sharp. They've been practicing every day, and now that they know who that they're going to play, that they're ready to go.
Thing about it is they got to get the reps, got to start doing reps against the teams and against the scouting teams that are going to be playing next year. There's been a big difference between just practice in the past couple weeks and for all the teams that practiced this past week with no games last night, they've got to get back to getting regular game week reps in. That's the big thing now. Get focused on the games. The coaches have got to get game planning. A lot of talking, a lot of thinking, a lot of speculating. Now's the time these guys got to get to work.
Well, Coach Steele and I will be going down covering the Northeast Guilford at West Craven game next week. Where are you and Dennis going to be?
Plan right now will be over at Dudley. Dudley will be involved against Alexander Central, so check out Dudley and check out Hendon Hooker. Trying to follow the end of the career of Hendon Hooker, see how far Hendon and Dudley can take it and see what those guys can do. We were with those guys a little bit last year, and got to see what they do this year.
Yeah, they the Virginia Tech Hokies ended up losing a game to Georgia Tech earlier. I don't know if you saw that. So Hendon hopefully be able.
I say Clemson lost. I was watching that Clemson game, and I was with one of my coaching associates. He said Clemson lost that game. I found that tough to believe. That was one of the best games I've seen all day long. Pitt gave college football instead of high school football. Boy, Clemson, they had everything they could take today because Pitt really took it to them.
Right.
Yeah, we were worried we were going to have to put Coach Lippert on suicide watch after that Clemson game. I know you've been pouring over the brackets, Andy. What's jumping out at you? You want to pick some winners, or do you want to just roll with what we got?
I would say pretty much my theory about the whole thing is I was thinking about this during the day-to-day teams. You look at Dudley, look at Page. The other teams like Eastern Guilford and Southern Guilford to some degree, and even the Northeast and the Northern, they have a chance to maybe pull off the first round. They got to establish an identity. Right now, people are familiar with Page, familiar with Dudley, and if those teams do well, they do well, and kind of the whole public follows them. But if a team like Eastern Guilford gets hot and goes, pretty deep in the playoffs, they've got to establish some kind of public identity where people, and say Page loses eventually, say for some reason Dudley falls down, they both lose, and a team like Eastern Guilford's the only team left. I think it seems like Eastern from the very get-go against fourth holders, whoever they play after that, they've got there could be Asheboro maybe. That might be a possibility. They may face Webster.
I believe you're right. It's Asheboro.
They got to establish that identity, right? That's what Eastern Guilford's got to do. They haven't had that a lot in the past. It's going to be some new territory. Then they got to establish identity and get people to get behind them. It's kind of like the political campaign. You had the winner Trump the other night. Now people have got to rally behind him to some degree, and they got to rally behind our teams in Guilford County. If a certain team falls down and goes out of the playoffs and they're finished for the season, and you only got a couple of teams left, you got to hope the whole public kind of jumps on board that bandwagon and, jumps on board the Guilford County map as far as that goes. I'm thinking Eastern Guilford's going to win. I hope to win that first round. It's going to be very tough for Northern, very tough for Northeast. I think those guys, I wrote beside them some of my notes earlier in the week. They're just glad they got in. They're glad to be there, but they got to get beyond that fact and hope they can get a win. It's going to be tough for Northern to win, tough for Northeast to win. Eastern should win that first round. Southern's got a great first round draw. I think High Point Andrews might be the old proverbial political trump card. They got a good trump card going. They got to win that first round game. They got a 7-4 team coming in, but I'm hoping Andrews, that rushing game's running good. I hope they picked up some steam, and they might be ready to go maybe 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, out of that bracket, Andy, it's Clinton dark horses all the way. That 2A, I became a firm believer of Clinton last year when they knocked off Andrews at home. That 14-13 game I called was one of the best physical. Clinton had they had 18 juniors on that team last year that went to the semifinals, and now they've got 18 seniors on that team. The Clinton Dark Horses look unbeatable to me.
I don't know. After last night, I listened to the 8-man state championship game last night, 8-man football state championship game. After hearing that game last night, I think anything's possible. Maybe Andrews could hang in, stick in, maybe knock them off. You never know. But I hope Andrews does well. But, again, you look at teams like Southeast at Davie County first round, going to be a tough first-round draw. I think Southeast is in trouble with Davie County. Southwest Gilbert's facing Watauga. Watauga's got the top scoring team in the western part of the state. Watauga scored just a number I picked up this morning, doing a little tracking here and there, getting the Charlotte Observer site. But anyway, Watauga scored 560 points this season. Highest scoring team in the whole western part of the state.
Wow.
So that's going to be a tough
that's
for Southwest.
tough for Southwest because they started out so great.
They got a chance.
Yeah, it depends on what Southwest
last year.
It depends on what Southwest team shows up, I guess.
Well, they played well in the last game. They finally got things rectified that last game against High Point Central. But if Southwest could beat Watauga, they'd have a chance to come on and possibly play Dudley. It'd be the rematch of last year's round 2 game. But usually when you look at things like that, so it could turn out just like it did last year, it never does. So I hope for Southwest's sake they can get it going at Watauga. Going to be tough. I think Southeast tough at Davie County, like I said. I think Page is in great shape. Something to help Page was the fact they got on the other side of that west bracket away from Butler, Mallard Creek, and Charlotte Vance. They got away from those guys. That's a big boost for Page.
Yeah, it sure is, Andy. Well, Andy, I can't thank you enough for letting us do this show. We've had a blast. The 3 hours has flown by. Been able to be able to meet some of these coaches in person and actually sit down and talk to them. And we appreciate you letting us do this.
Good job. Good job as always.
All right, this has been Kris Walser, Wyatt Smith, and Andy Durham. We are Greensboro Sports Radio, greensborosports.com, and we have been live at Karonda's all night long. And thank you so much for tuning in and listening. And make sure to tune in next week for Northeast Guilford at West Craven. It'll be Coach Still and I in the booth calling that game. And then you got Andy Durham and Dennis White's going to be calling the Dudley game. And make sure everybody tunes into those. So, Andy, once again, thanks for joining us. And we will see you all guys real soon.
See you on the site. Take care.